Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Chaos Dwarves and Tomb Kings. It's going to be myself with the Sorcerer Lord facing off against Subutai, who's going to be rocking old Kotep here in the bushes. Should be quite a bit of fun. It's certainly his natural habitat. And we are going to be trying a super rarely picked character, which is the Bull Centaur Tarek. I almost forgot his name, but I kind of figured against Tomb Kings he could be okay, right? He's a fast anti-large fighter with pretty decent durability and leadership, so let's get this bad boy in there. Let's put him against like the Ushapti, the Bone Giants, the characters, and see if he can help with some of those threats that are very common in this matchup. So yeah, we'll see how he does. Now, for the rest of my army here, it's going to be Chowie warriors, and obviously armored infantry are pretty good against Tomb King's troopers. They will suffer against maybe catapults and Ushapti, but aside from that, they hold pretty well. And some Infernal Guard Fireglaves. I think these are the coolest unit on Chaos Dwarves. Oh, they're so rad looking. And their tabletop models are actually pretty good too. The Resin Forge World ones, those guys rock. And sadly, can't really get them anymore. But yeah, they pack a punch and they look rad. And yeah, anti-large shooting, a little bit of, keeping them honest. We'll see how it goes. And our Sorcerer character, no surprise, is going to be a Firecaster. Tomb Kings and Fire, they don't love it. And it's so cool playing tabletop Old World and also seeing the comparisons in the rules, right? Like if you do flame damage against a unit, a lot of undead and different, spooky units do have what's called the regeneration save, where they kind of regenerate or heal or whatever through the wound. But if you do fire damage, they don't get to. And it's reflected in this game, certainly, how good fire magic is against undead and its effects on healing. But Chaos Dwarves, and we got some Goblin Laborers who are going to grab this point here, and a Deathstreak Rocket Launcher, which is going to be in the trees. And now for the old Tomb Kings on the other side, it is going to be Tomb Guard, Skeleton Spearmen, or Tomb Guard. Makes sense. Tomb Guard are your high capture weight unit. Bone Giants have always been pretty meta against Chaos Dwarves. They're excellent at killing the artillery pieces and can snipe a multitude of other targets. And, the Bale Tor Sorcerer Lord, or Sorcerer Prophet, excuse me, is the most common pick, and the Bone Giant's pretty good at just poking him up in the sky. So, thankfully for me, I didn't bring him. Kotep is good just for spamming spells, and did he bring the Lich Staff? He did, so Lich Staff is here. Every time he casts a spell, it adds 15 seconds to my cooldowns, and it does also heal the rest of the Tomb King's army for 1.2% of their HP, which is very, very good. So, yeah, that's going to be the Tomb Kings here, and let's get this party started. Do a little bit of fast forwarding while we get this going. And the Tarek character is going to be running out of the trees, preparing to ambush the forces of the Tomb Kings, while the Chowie Tsar Legion is going to be forming ranks here on Objective 1, getting ready to go. So fighting is on. Here we go. Ushapti Greatbow is called out of the trees. One standard Ushapti, one Greatbow chosen of the gods, and they're teeing off onto my poor Chowie warriors. In the meantime, my Deathstreak Rocket Launcher, which for some reason they're really good at shooting out of the trees. I believe it's shot its first shot. We haven't seen it yet. It will be exchanging fire, and we're going to see how it does. So obviously the Ushapti Greatbow is trying to scoot up to put a little bit of a threat onto my Infernal Guard Fireglaves, but this is where the Tarek character is going to have his chance to shine. So he moves out, he intercepts Ushapti, and he's going to be taking him to the club. He certainly pounds some of those guys. I don't know if he killed any of them yet. Probably doesn't one-shot a model, but does some respectable damage, and his anti-large attacks will continue to do well, as the Ushapti do lose probably about 8-10% of their HP, and are going to be forced to flee. In response, Kotep does use the Nero's Incantation of Protection, giving him a little bit of ward, while the artillery from downtown tries to help out. And also the Tarek, potentially able to threaten the Bone Giant as well. Sorcerer Prophet's going to be here with his little, his pistol. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does have some AP and also imbues fire weakness, so he's going to be shooting at the big monster. And is it going to hit? Looks like a bit of a miss there. Not the most accurate. He failed in his marksman school, that Dwarf Overlord did. And the Tarek character is still putting some hurt on the big monsters, up to about 400 value so far. And my next big call-in is a scary monster. So we do have the Bale Tor's character, and I figured it can come back here, cause some disruption, but Subutai does respond very well with the Sepulchral Stalker. So Eyes of the Desert, a pretty good answer against the Bale Tor's if they can keep pace with it. If not, the Bale Tor's is going to be extremely punishing against a multitude of units here that the Tomb Kings do have. And I do have a triple cap out of the gate, so I do manage to get some Hobgoblin sneaky gets. These little sneaky lads did creep up around the side and got the objective. And now come the Goblin Laborers, so they'll be moving in to support that and help me hold that objective for as long as I possibly can. But so far, the early skirmishing phase has been pretty even, and I would have to say this Tarek character has been very, very essential to that. He's been able to move up just kind of on his own without overextending and doing very good work. And look at that, Fireglaves ripping big shots into the Eyes of the Desert, while I try and dodge with the Bale Taurus, who is under a torrent of fire from the Chosen of the Gods and the Eyes of the Desert. And the Tarek man is going to fight here. I figured he would be safe to fight if he has fire support. Well, so those guns are shooting. He's going to be able to hold his own. He does take out a Sepulchral Stalker there, which is quite good. And another one does fall. So 2 down. First Burning Head going down here. Does manage to cook some of the Tomb Guard. So taking him straight to the barbecue, baby. And oh, that's going to be so juicy. He goes right through the other Tomb Guard, roasting through those guys. And it's going to come and say hello to the Ushapti Greatbows as well. So so those Great Posts going to get the business a little bit, but they have been doing good work. My Infernal Guard Fireglaves are not in great shape, but at the very least, despite their very decrepit amount of health they have left, they have been able to put hurt on the Eyes of the Desert. Now Subutai calls in a Tomb Scorpion. Tomb Scorpion is good against Chowie infantry. They're kind of a weird monster. In tabletop, they're amazing. They're super, super good. But yeah, it does manage to get a tail whip against the Bull Centaur, though I do have some Chaos Dwarf Warriors supporting against the Spears. Maybe a little bit of a dodgy fight, but we'll have to see. Now, Blob Fight over here is going to be the Sorcerer Prophet and the Bale Taurus character. Going fisticuffs here with the Ushabti, and on the flank, I saw a little bit of an outflank here, and I didn't want to get these guys pushing towards my catapult, so we do call in the dreaded Demon's Tongue. But this finally gives the Tomb Kings a target for the Bone Giant and the Ushabti, so in a way, it's going to do some work. Sure, and Rosie's infantry down, you're going to see it's going to easily just get through these. So it gets a rear charge onto the Tomb Guard here, and also is going to be, hurting their leadership with its flamethrower attack potentially. But look how quickly Subutai has been able to turn the tide on the Demon's Tongue, although it rolls in once again and roasts another unit of Tomb Guard, so maybe if it can crumble a couple infantry, it'll be worth it. In the backfield, we do have the Bale Taurus going back to try and disrupt. You know, he's got such a good firing position here. He's got the Chosen of the Gods, the Bone Giant. I need to get back here and do some disruption, so we're going to be using the Bale Taurus to try and wear down the Chosen of the Gods. Meanwhile, my train is just getting wrecked, so the Demon's Tongue is currently 400 value, so at least it's done something before it got Karate Chop, but overall not looking great. Now on the side point, we are holding on to his point. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors were called in from reserve and have arrived with the Goblin Laborers and the Sneaky Gits, but he's probably going to get this one back eventually. He does have Tomb Guard, some Nehakara Horsemen, but it's going to take him some sweet time. Probably needs a new Shopti to overall win this fight. So we're getting a lot of points here, but I kind of started to see the writing on the wall a little bit in terms of value trading. My Tarot character did get overwhelmed by the Sepulchral Stalker shooting and the Tomb Scorpion here, but his value got about 1,000, so he just about paid for himself. And my train is also running, so a lot of my good units are on the run here. And I did start to see the Ushabti moving forward and the Tomb Scorpion being problematic as well. So that's why we called in the Bull Centaur Renders. But down goes the train, the Boner Giant with the MLG downtown shot, baby. No scope, mom, get the camera. So Bone Giant here, probably sitting at about 1,000 value so far, I would wager. Going to be getting another shot. Wow, 2,000 value. And there he goes, another beautiful shot. Going to be going into the Bull Centaurs. That one missed, but it looked really cool, so it's still beautiful. Chosen of the Gods did manage to escape here, so they fled through the woods, and the old Bale Taurus is going to be trying to crump through the Nehakara Horsemen here. And it's getting some damage on, but it's a good tar pit, not something I want to stay in. And there's the old artillery in the trees. And look at that, the Deathstreak actually getting caught by the Scorpion. I was like, oh my god, this thing got back here. How sneaky is it? I was able to escape, and my Bull Centaurs are a little bit trapped up in the front line, fighting against some of the Ushabti, but they're spear support, so it's really not good. There's fat Boner Giant shafts in my face. And I tried to outflank here and get onto his missiles, but Subutai did a really good job intercepting here. My Hobgoblin with spears. Going to be defeated pretty decisively here by these Nehakara Warriors. They're just a vastly superior light cavalry unit. Although my guys are faster, so they're kind of somewhere in between. So in the backfield, my old artillery is getting taken offline. The Bull Centaur Tarek is going to be trying to save this. And this is a big turning of the tide, right? My artillery was keeping him honest. It was really, really blasting a lot of his constructs, but now I'm running out of time. And the Helm's Deep sirens are going off in my head right now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to Helm's Deep here. This is easily a triple cap situation, right? So I can potentially just win on the one objective, but it's going to be an incredibly tough hold as the Tomb Kings are kind of zerging all over the battlefield right now. My Sorcerer Prophet, he stands alone listening to some Godsmack. 900 value on the Burning Heads, but this is big too. We also managed to get a Goon, so the Bale Taurus coming in and not hearing any bell whatsoever is going to be going after Kotep. Kotep does get Fizz Res, which does help against the Bale Taurus character, but he's crumbling. He's at 200 leadership. And Tomb Kings, their monsters are pretty good. I mean, the Kadai Destroyer sucks, but the Bale Taurus and, the other smaller Taurus and even the Lomasu in certain situations can be good. And here it comes in and kills Kotep, which is a massive, massive win for us. Even though we're down in value, that is going to make it exponentially harder for the Tomb Kings to advance up and get my objective because their leadership is going to be much lower, which is going to be equating to a lot of crumbling damage. So I know the back objective is going to be my Helm's Deep spot. We're almost at 1,100 points, so I do start to saturate units onto it. So we got some Cutthroats here, some Cutthroats here. They have full capture weight, which is good. And Burning Head also doing some okay damage, but the Ushabti, unfortunately, probably will eventually get my Sorcerer Prophet. And hopefully the Bale Taurus will be able to get away and provide a little bit of support in the backfield. Now, that's going to be the call-in here. Next call-in is going to be the dreaded Magma Cannon. So this is another unit that I think is not nearly as good as the Deathstreaker, but it's really fun to use, and there's kind of a tertiary benefit to this thing, in that it does lower leadership. So I figured, hey, the Tomb Kings, if I can get their Lord, their leadership will be kind of flimsy, and then the Magma Cannon is going to help me crumble things down a little bit quicker. So we'll see what kind of damage it does. Of course, this thing was incredibly broken on launch, And I'm hoping it'll kind of channel some of its inner brokenness here to help me close this game out, because it's getting really, really tight. I'm down 3,000 value. Tomb Kings have healing, and there's a shot there. You can see it does okay damage. That's respectable, but also puts their leadership to negative 21, right? Because it applies a multitude of debuffs here. And they start crumbling, which is also a lot of damage. So I still think there's some applications for the Magma Cannon. We'll have to see. A couple Tomb Guard trying to make it up. Bull Centaur renders, even though their Grey Opens are going to be pretty strong here. And the Cutthroats will be able to hold their own against some Skeleton Spears, no problem. A couple sneaky Goblin Wolf Riders tried to flank around, and I was trying to get onto his bows back here and whatnot. He was able to intercept me. Over here, Burning Head going down. Subutai's got a pretty firm grasp on this point. Sorcerer Prophet isn't long for this world. So it's pretty much all hands on deck, guys. We just need to hold this point. Sneaky gets on their way up, and we do see the Crumbling Spearmen, and over here, the Tomb Guard crumbling down. Bull Centaur renders being pretty good, and yeah, they're a good unit. Finally, you know, after the, not finally, but after their initial launch and them being just so busted, these bad boys, you know, finally found a decent little comfortable place. I don't know if they're the best kind of anti-large heavy cavalry, but, you know, they get the job done. They do have 50 armor. Demogryph Knights, I do think, are actually probably a little bit better than them, but here they come. Bull Centaur is going to be moving across into the Eyes of the Desert, and we do see the Magma Cannon shooting into the Sepulchral Stalkers here. He does have a lot of anti-large and kind of Ushabti Great Bows and Sepulchral Stalkers, things that aren't necessarily good at killing infantry, so I'm hoping that can buy me time. And here my game plan was to go for a Ninja Cap. I was like, let's use 1,000 points, get 2 Hobgoblins, and try and see if we can snake Objective 3 to just really close out the game. Because if we get that, it's pretty much GG. It's going to be a tough gambit, but we're going to see if we can, as we do have some Chowie Warriors fighting on the point, which was a large reason as to why I tried. So Sneaky gets with their Ninja Stars, doing really good. These are certainly the most stalwart of Goblins I've seen. They're currently at 18 leadership, and they're hanging in there like champs. No Chaos Dwarves nearby to give them a leadership buff, which is a bit of a mistake on my part. They do, of course, have the Malign Authority, so if there is a scary Chowie nearby, they get +8 leadership, which is good. And the Magma Cannon actually doing work. Here, almost melting down some Sepulchral Stalkers while the Sneaky Gits are able to chase them. In the backfield, Subutai is going to go for an intercept with the Horsemen, and normally Hobgoblins would lose, but the fact that I'm going to get kind of a flanking charge here, and I think it's if they flank or rear, so they're going to get Cowardly Despoilers here, gives them 25 damage, and puts them up to a similar category of the Horsemen. And since he didn't get his charge bonus and I did, I might be able to actually win that fight. We'll have to see. So we do get the Ninja attempt on the back objective, but Subutai responds well. Kotsep has risen again from the ashes, so he has returned. Might be a little bit too late for him, we'll have to see, but it did distract him, right? He had to send some units over here, which allowed me to get a little bit more kind of cozy time on my back objective. Another shot from the Magma Cannon going into the Eyes of the Desert, and I'm like actually surprisingly impressed with this. Oh, 69 kills. And yes, it only has 400 value so far, but you have to take into account the amount of crumbling it's inflicted, and because that's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. So Sneaky Gits normally would lose here, but Goblins, you know, they like to do it from behind. So here, the Cowardly Despoiler is going to be charging in. We'll probably be able to crumble down these warriors pretty quickly. Their binding is better because Kotsep is back, but even still, that rear charge is good there. And the dreaded Magma Cannon shot is going to put him into crumbling, negative 55. You see what I'm saying? It's getting a little bit of work in there. I think against like Skaven, Vampire Counts, Tomb Kings, maybe like a Magma Cannon could have a little bit of teeth. I think there's a little something there. But on the back point, we do got the Cutthroats and the Sneaky Gits and also the Wolf Riders who are going to be intercepting the Ushabti here. We're just shooting at Kotsep now, just why the hell not, and using the remnants of our raiding force over here to try and intercept his reinforcements from getting to the point. As far as my call-ins go, we're going to be calling in the big guns, baby. We do have the Chaos Dwarf Warriors as well as the Demon's Tongue on its way back. And the Demon's Tongue obviously was kind of weak earlier when he had access to a lot of shooting, but now that he doesn't, I'm thinking the Demon's Tongue might be like incredibly destructive, right? Leadership discouraging, anti-infantry, really, really good flamethrower against like Tomb Guard tier units. We'll have to see if this works out. So more mobility coming in. Nehekara Horsemen will be intercepted once again by these very proud Hobgoblins. And does this guy count as Contempt? It does. Okay, so he's going to be buffing the leadership of my nearby units. The Bone Giant has finally arrived after doing very good this game. 2,500 value on him. And my Sorcerer Lord has been on the other side basically getting dumped on here. So you can see the Ushabti have just been taken into Pound Town. Not really much to look at there, but it's going to take a while for my opponent to kill those. So we're almost at 1,400 points. The Helm's Deep coming into full play here, as we do use the Demon's Tongue to come over. Look at how much damage it did to those Nehekara Horsemen. Oh my goodness. That is really, really good. Crumbling their leadership. They're at negative 30 right now, and the Magma Cannon's going to continue ripping shots into these guys. It does a little bit of damage, a little razzle-dazzle, and it's gotten about 800 value so far, so yeah, it's more of a balanced place at this point. So just tar pitting Kotsep and the Bone Giant. Bone Giants are pretty awful at killing mass amounts of infantry in my experience. Using a couple of our tattered cavalry to also tie up the Tomb Guard, buying as much time as I can because I know it's still a pretty tight game. He's got a lot of units on their way over, and if they're able to all get here, I could be in very, very big danger. Like, these things have 4 capture weight apiece, right? So I was sweating some serious bullets. And who do you call when you're in danger, baby? It's going to be the Bull Centaur Tarek. So here he comes. He's charging across. He's got his anti-large club. Certainly going to be able to beat down that Bone Giant if he needs to. And it's go time, man. This is it. We got a hold here. We got 8 capture weight coming in here. We got a Tomb Guard unit with 5 capture weight. Got a spear with 2. He's going to be out-muscling me pretty soon, but the flamethrower, a little bit of a tickling of the pickle on the giant here. Not necessarily the target you want to shoot. But we do manage to maintain cap weight, but we're going to see. It starts to flip back and forth. You can see how it's getting a little bit dodgy here, guys. A little bit scary. Katep in danger. We got the Tarek versus the Bone Giant. Tarek does have anti-large attacks, though, so it should be very, very good there. And now the capture weight's probably going to be flipping once again. Yeah, you can see it's very, very precarious. But when the Tomb Guard get there, man, I'm going to be sweating bullets. And in response, I'm just desperation sending. I got the Hobgoblins coming out, man. I'm just trying to get whatever I can because it's now starting to make a little bit of progress for him. However, this Flamethrower train has been doing great work at melting down the arriving units. But that, ladies and gentlemen, probably is going to be it. I don't think he's going to have enough time. We have the Chowie. We're flipping the capture weight back because we're actually killing quite a bit of his units. You can see the Crumbling Horseman here. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be GG. Well played. The Chowies are hold on in the 4th quarter. Fun match. Tarek was cool. I think I might mix him into that matchup more. I think even like having a goon squad of 2 of them could be kind of nice. Like a wide build. Maybe cut the Death Streak and go double Tarek. Also maybe cut these guns too. They're a little bit too easy of a target for the old Tomb Kings. Yeah, so maybe like cut this to get a second Tarek, cut you, and maybe 1 Chowie Warrior to open with a Bale Taurus, and maybe? I don't know, it's kind of fun. Bale Taurus was good. Only 900 value, but it did get the Lord kill. The Train was a bit of a dodgy pick too, but I think having one is nice. And yeah, looking forward to experimenting with Magma Cannon. So his Bone Giant was great, Ushopti was great. He obviously outvalued me, right? But he was just triple capped for far too long. And who would have thought that Tomb Scorpion would get like Giga 1500 value? All right, guys, GG, well played. See you around. And let me know what matchups you want to see, and we'll make it happen. Cheers.